I want to talk a little bit today about how staffing works, because I think that a lot of companies in Tulsa that use staffing, some of them don't really understand the end result. I think they go through and use staffing companies for years, and they don't really have a way of measuring whether or not it is successful or not. So there are three main things that I want to encourage other people to consider when you're using a staffing company. One, does it save you money? Two, does it save you time? And three, are you getting A players in the end? The first thing I'd like to talk to you about is how staffing saves you money. And this is probably the most important thing for companies, but this is really how that works. When you hire a staffing company, what you're wanting to do is be able to bring in quality employees into your company. And if you're going to have a problem, most of the time it's going to happen in the first 90 days. You will understand. Most of the managers that use staffing companies, they know this, but you start seeing how somebody's going to behave right about the 90-day mark. And the whole idea behind staffing and the way that we're able to save you money is that first 90 days is going to be on our payroll. So while they're on our payroll, we are covering their federal and state employment taxes, which is about 30%, 20% of their salary. We're covering liability insurance, workers' comp, any unemployment insurance we're taking care of for the company. So all of these costs are going to be handled in the first 90 days. And if there's going to be a turnover time, it's going to happen during that time period. And so if there's going to be an issue, we want to take on the brunt of that. And that's how we're able to save people money, because we're taking on all of that. But in the end, whenever you go through and somebody's made that 90-day mark, you have a really decent idea on whether you have a really good employee that's worth investing in, and you're not having to worry with all of the junk that happens with most employees that you hire in the first 90 days. And that's part of the way that we save people money. The second thing is that we are able to save employers time. And this should be pretty easy to understand why. Thing is if you're going to hire somebody, you're going to have to bring in a lot of people to be able to get a decent number of people to choose from, to have options to choose from. And to do that, one, you've got to go through and source resumes. But let me give you a little bit of a hint. 90% of the people that we hire, we don't get them from some job ad from Indeed or from the Tulsa World or from Craigslist or whatever job site you're using. We generally are not getting those in from ads. Those are people that we're going out and finding. We're finding passive candidates who are probably working, they're open to new opportunities, and we go and get those people for you, so you're getting a higher quality person. And that takes a lot of time. The thing is, we are meeting with roughly about 15 people every day for you. And so you're getting a lot of options when you use a staffing company. And you're having the staffing company weed out all of those people that would literally waste your time on bringing them on. And so we're able to easily save time for our employers, because we are going to be able to source through and weed out the bad people, narrow it down to 2 or 3 really good candidates, have you meet with those, and know that you've already, in using a staffing company, you have eliminated 20 people to get down to 3, and we're able to get you the top 3 and give you 3 good quality candidates that can actually be considered for your job, and they meet the description that you've given us. And so in that way, we're really easily able to save employers a lot of time. The third thing that we do is we save employers time, money, and We get them an A player. That's the big deal. An A player, and you know who those are. If you're an employer and you've managed people, you know who your A players are. And this is why you know it, because they do double the work. But what if, as a company, we figured out a way to get every person on your team to be an A player? How much more would your company get accomplished? It literally revolutionizes companies when they get A players. We do it for companies all the time. But when you get an A player, the way to get them is very difficult for a lot of people when they're not using a staffing company. But this is how we make it easy for staffing companies to get an A player. And this sounds harsh, and this sounds bad, but it's really not bad, and it's not even bad for the employee. But it allows you to release them early without any kind of consequences. And that is a very important aspect to being able to get an A player. And that is giving you the opportunity to be able to release them quickly when you know that they're not a right fit. When you bring them onto your payroll immediately, a lot of companies have to go through a lot of red tape to be able to release somebody. And so it saves a ton of money from people just so they can just say, you know what, we know they're not a fit, we know it right now, and it's so obvious to us, but we're using a staffing company, so we're not gonna have to go through that red tape. We just need to let them know that, hey, this is not a right fit. Here's the thing, God has a place for everybody. It's not always through that company, but us as a staffing agency, we've got 10 to 15 other opportunities that we could consider that person for, especially if they really worked hard, they really tried, it just wasn't a fit there. We can try to go find a fit for them somewhere else. And so companies can use us in that way and use our other opportunities to give that person other opportunities. It's not necessarily a bad thing for them, but the thing is, they knew that they weren't a good fit there anyway. So why have that employee sit there for who knows how long working a job that the employer knows it's not going to work anyway? They're just going through their process. So we're able to help employers find an A player quickly, but we're also able to help at the same time employees find the right position for them quickly. But the thing is for an employer, when you find an A player, you're going to get double the work out of that A player, almost guaranteed. And you'll revolutionize the way that you do business because you're going to get so much more out of the team that you're with. And that is how you find an A player, and that's how it changes your business's culture very quickly. We currently work with a company that we've worked with for probably about the last 5 years. And when we very first started working with them, they literally had a turnover every week. They were having to terminate somebody and bring someone on. It was almost a nightmare to try to staff for them because they turned over people so quickly. But when we started working with them and working, really defining and understanding what they were needing and providing that for them, but asking them tons of questions and ask them what specifically did not work there. Because what we were doing, and this is what a lot of companies do, they'll go and they'll find somebody who has the right skill set and they look great on paper, and so they'll just bring them in because the skill set works. But people hire for skill, but they terminate because it's just not a good fit, or they don't play in the sand well with other people. And so putting a strong emphasis on learning about what the type of personality fits in a company just as much as we do the skill set, we've really been able to help companies get a lot better. But this is the thing. We've worked with them for 5 years. I don't remember the last time we had to place somebody for them because we've got them an entire team of A players. So we used to use them all the time, or they used to use us all the time. But they don't have to anymore. We got them a whole group of A players. And so we've really saved them a ton of money over the long haul. And that sounds like, from a business standpoint, that would be horrible for a staffing company if they wouldn't need to use us anymore because they don't have very much turnover. But here's the thing. They have referred us out to I don't know how many different people. And it's been a great thing for Trinity. It's been a great thing for that employer. We get them A players. We can do that for every company in Tulsa if they'll give us a chance. And that's how we've been able to save people money, save them time, and get them A players. And it's been great.